After browsing that Denver guy's channel, it's pretty clear that a lot of people are upset with Epic Games right now. Fortnite is in the worst state, in my opinion, than it has been in a very long time, and I've had probably the least amount of fun trying to go for high kill games and stuff than I ever have before. So in this video, Denver and I set out with one goal, and that was to try to abuse this new system that Epic Games has created. Remember, they don't want us to play too aggressive in Fortnite and find a 100% win rate. So guys, before you watch the rest of this video, just remember, Epic Games wanted this, so we might as well abuse it. I want to start this off by saying this is not clickbait. To anyone out there saying this won't work for everybody, just wait until you see some of the games that Denver and I had to win 4 straight in this video. It literally takes close to 0 skill. So if you've even touched Fortnite on your Amazon Kindle or your Nintendo Switch, whatever you play on, Epic has almost made winning too easy in public matches to the point of boredom. I just can't wait for them to add a rocket ship equipped with infinite RPGs to make my wins even easier. So getting into it, guys, I'm sure you've all guessed this involves a certain round vehicle that has ravaged the competitive scene with controversy. This strategy, of course, starts off with landing at any of the baller spawns. These spawns are all around the map, so when going for a win, I highly recommend dropping as far from the bus as possible to avoid having anybody contesting your drop. The start of a game is always where the most amount of people die right away. It's because people are all going for good loot, they're going to Tilted, Salty Springs, Retail Row, and this can be good for improving in the game and getting in more fights, but when we're talking about getting actual wins in the game, this is not the best strategy. Denver and I tested out multiple drops and found that the biggest key is just finding travel in general. Ideally, you'll get yourself a nice baller off of spawn and you and your partner can just baller around the whole map, but a driftboard or quad can also work. Make sure you scan around the drop for other players, but depending on where you land, you can get decent loot before leaving with your baller. The goal at this point is to just move around the map, avoid fights, and collect as many resources as possible. Epic now allows us to have 3,000 mats again, so the more you harvest, the better your chance of winning becomes at the end of the game. Remember guys, we're trying to increase your chances of winning towards 100% or at least close to that. Everyone theoretically starts out with a 1% chance to win in solos, but there are easy ways to improve on that. It might feel like a farming simulator in the middle of the game, so I recommend watching more of my videos while you harvest or doing your homework. It's pretty sad that even homework is more interesting than the middle of Fortnite games in this current meta. It's extremely sad. I mean, have you guys even watched any of the World Cup? The last 5 minutes of the game are the only exciting plays of every single game. Nobody fights, everybody just tries to get to the end, and then it's a turtle fest. Wouldn't want the game to become too aggressive there, huh, Epic? After you have farmed up as many resources as you can, try to find some high ground away from other players. If you box up on your baller, you can hang out there while the rest of the lobby fights, and hopefully the rest of the lobby will be taking each other out while you're just chilling. Since none of the other players will receive health or mats per kill after the revert, they will come out of these fights without 200 health a lot of the time and very few materials. Denver and I were actually amazed at how long we could go through games without having a fight with anybody. The ballers can bail out of any bad situation so fast to where we even had a game of 6 people alive before we had to fire a single shot. With this strategy in the game, even the biggest noob on the planet can salvage a win anytime. At the very least, we were getting to 10 people alive without having to fight anyone. Think about how high your chances are of winning every game if you have this kind of patience to play this way. Now, we cannot possibly forget about what type of items make winning even easier. The boom bow and the RPG will make that endgame so simple for you to third party some fights and clean up anybody left alive. Of course, these weapons are easy to use and very spammy, but we're talking about easy wins here, guys. This comes with using Epic's game to be toxic for wins, and yes, that includes the minigun, dynamite, talk about all the spam weapons they've been adding in the game since what, like Season 3? Make sure you hit up as many vending machines with your baller as possible and to loot open loot drops as well. I was actually really surprised to see how many people just ignore loot drops in the game, and how easy, if you're focused on getting them, you can get them so many of the times, and these will guarantee you amazing loot once you have to fight. When the circle shrinks down to a smaller size, you might still be tempted to fight other players, but I highly recommend trying to position yourself to where other players will have to fight first, and then you can just third party their endgame fight. You might be thinking that you have to fight sooner, but guys, even if a mega sweat starts to run at you, just reposition yourself somewhere else in the circle. So carrying ballers, rifts, and launch pads, all of that stuff makes avoiding fights so extremely simple at the end game. I want to take you guys through one of our end games where we actually had to fight without ballers. I only carried a scoped revolver and a gray SMG to show you guys that you don't even need crazy good loot to win these games. I could see some people saying, wow, well, the only reason you're winning is because you have good loot, so I wanted to show you guys us winning without even having great loot. In this particular situation, 2 players glided on top of Denver and I and hit both of us for a lot of health. However, since we both had our ballers throughout the middle of the game to loot the entire time without fighting, we had plenty of shields to heal back up, and that gave us the slight advantage that we needed to take home the win in that fight. You never know what could be the difference maker in each fight, so having a full stack of mini shields and shield pots will always set you up to dominate the end game, especially heading into it. If you take even that little bit of chip damage, even taking 20 shield of damage and being able to refuel that shield, that could get you potentially that win that you really need at the end game. Having plenty of materials also helps to build for safety while healing mid-fight. You're going to see me do it here. You don't even need to be a crazy good builder to win these fights. Like you guys see, I'm not an insane builder, but I still managed to heal mid-fight and take out these guys for Denver and I to lead to the end game. After surviving that one crucial fight, Denver then led us to take down the rest of the lobby for the win. Now, is it possible that you could lose these fights so there's not a 100% win rate? Of course, but this strategy will consistently get you into these positions, into the top 10, the top 5, with a really high chance at winning every game. As long as you stay true to the strategy, you really do not need to be a sweat to win. And I really wanted to show you guys this specific gameplay because this was one of the closest calls Denver and I had, and really it wasn't that close of a call. We both took some decent damage, but ultimately we came out of the fight. We still had very good health going to the very end of the game and led us to get that win. So I just wanted to show you guys this one to show you what happens if, say, your ballers break heading to the end game. It's not the end of the world, and you still have a really good chance with that good loot that you had from rotating. Now think about this strategy in squads. There are only a maximum of 24 other squads when you have a 100 player lobby. If you and your buddies use this strategy, you could potentially only have to beat like one squad every single game. As long as that squad isn't filled with ghoul troopers and renegade raiders, you should be absolutely good to go. I know it might be hard to convince your squad to go with a boring strategy of just looting the entire game and hitting up trees and stuff, but you could talk about girls or the new Avengers movie or whatever my audience really talks about on the daily. The biggest point in this video is that Epic has absolutely broken their game once again in Season 8. I hate to sound negative when talking about a game that I have loved to play over the last year, and I mean loved. I put in a lot of time into this game, but Ballers have brought the same broken mechanic that Planes brought back in Season 7. The skill gap has been reduced to nothing, so we might as well just take advantage of it instead of complaining constantly about how bad Season 8 is, which can be really hard, trust me. I know as somebody that plays this a lot, it can be hard not to complain about. But we can take this time to rack up wins and just hope that Fortnite Season 9 has some really positive changes for us. As of right now, the outlook is not very clear, unfortunately. But once again, I hate to get clickbaity with the 100% win rate and win every game, but imagine Tfue playing this strategy with this game right now. As long as he doesn't fall asleep while he's playing, that man is winning 100% of his games. I don't care what you guys say. In public matches like this, a guy that is as dominant as him is going to win 100% of his games like that, hands down. And there's nothing that Epic could do to change that, except, yes, give us back the meta that we had before this. Thank you guys so much though for watching this video. I hope that my Fortnite gameplay did not give you motion sickness. Please like or dislike the video. Any feedback is greatly appreciated on the channel. Also, feel free to drop a sub, leave a comment, and check out the rest of our guides in our playlist. As always, guys, I will see you all in the next video.
Started as a zero, I was chasing dreams, trying to turn into a hero.